Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have noticed, I am not Joe Dog McKeel. He will be entering the room shortly, but I have been privileged to be his Joey Bishop for this part of the show, and that just means that I hit the button and started things. And thank you, Richie, for reminding me while I was distracted on another screen that it were indeed time. So at the moment, we have Joe Bachman and Rich with us right now. And as I said, Joe Dog will be here shortly. We don't want him to rush, he's in traffic. So, how was y'all's day? Donna? He gets real upset at short jokes. I should know. I have masterminded a couple at his expense, and he was fairly peeved.
And he's in the peanut gallery eating.
Yeah, well, make sure you don't swallow the shells. I still can't find the room to actually make comments.
Chew them up really finely first.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of roughage and will help clean you out.
Yes. There's
and might save a life.
There's more cellulose in that than there is in the usual American hot dog. And I'm assuming that enough people have read Heinlein to get that joke. But then again, if not, you have homework. Ah, I do believe it is in Number of the Beast, which is a fairly decent album, even though people think that it was past the time that Bad Bob went off the rails from old age, but I wouldn't think so. I think it is a very highly complex, multiple timeline story, which is the kind of thing that I really like. And there is a second version of that with a totally different title that I cannot remember at the moment. But actually, one is the edit of another. And I think if somebody smart connected with the Heinlein estate went back and put it together into one longer book, it would be an even better story. Just chop out the duplicate chapters. And pretty much, I think you would have to. I don't know if the two endings would flow together, or if you just have to go. Here's one universe, and here's the way it ended in another universe. Not quite sure. It's been a little while since I've read both of them together, but it's Heinlein. How can you go wrong? A lot of people will. A lot of people. I do
Hey,
know
you
people
zombies.
that don't like it. Yeah. I know some people that don't like Robert Heinlein's work, and I'm going, okay, that's certainly an opinion, and I'm glad you expressed it, and I wish I knew why you held that. Could we talk about it without getting into a rant situation? Or is this just one of those things that's such a ingrained, hard-held belief that logically you know what you know, and you've got your point of view, and you're not going to consider anybody else's. So
Anyone whose first exposure to Heinlein is "Hey, you zombies," that could explain it all right there. You
that's
need to ramp up into that.
Mhm. Oh, you got an exclusive clip to play once you get there. That was Mr. Joe Dog, and now I'm in fear.
Why do I get the feeling he's never going
Hmm.
Hmm.
to give us up?
And Carl, in response to your comment, it's because I'm so hot.
Oh, now I understand. Yes.
Joe's in heat.
Uh, well, as I was telling Joe backstage before we started the show, today was the day that we took the German Shepherd in to get fixed. And Lindsay she's doing a mother hen that should win an Academy Award, let me tell you. She is this is helicopter grandparent territory. So the dog was laying there, I could tell, sound asleep, dreaming, running, chasing rabbits or whatever dogs do in their dreams. And Lindsay goes, "Oh, I'm going to have to give her a pill. She's hurting." And I'm going, "No, no, honey, she's not hurting. She's asleep. If she was hurting, she'd be awake and whining. Don't rush it." the veterinarian told us the last injection they gave us for pain, or gave the dog for pain, um, was going to last pretty much until well after midnight. So until the dog lets us know it's worn off, I'm kind of spooked about giving her the pill form of the same medicine because
Yep.
I don't want her to OD. I
Right.
mean,
Well, you don't want her to OD, and you also don't want her really tripping balls in the house either.
she
A
does
dog,
that, but she does that naturally. I'm probably going to regret when we actually give her the last pain pill and she goes back to her normal um, bouncy self because she's still a puppy. She's only about 10 months old, but we had to get it done now before she goes into heat for the second time because that would be one of those things. You got to go, Rich.
no, Crow was just asking what temperature something needed to be set for their portion of making dinner.
Mm. Oh, that reminds me of the first time that my first wife had her daughter cook something for me for dinner. Told her to put it in the oven for 2 hours at 400 degrees. So she did. Neglected to tell the girl to put it in the electric oven and not the microwave oven.
Mm.
Um, my wife at the time saved the microwave safe plate with the half a chicken on it, and I looked at it and I go, um, so that's how they make charcoal. Uh, embarrassed the poor little girl. Of course, now she's restaurant level cook.
hmm
Of course, now she's 50 something years old instead of 14.
Yeah, we just got a half a hog from my neighbor, and I did some pork steaks last night,
Ooh,
and doesn't get much fresher than only about 3 days from being at the butcher.
yep.
Generally, no, yeah.
Oh, and Dawn had brought up a point for you, Joe.
Ah, yeah, all's good. It wasn't as big of a catastrophe as we had originally thought, so but
All right.
still, I was being at the hospital until 3:30 in the morning.
That's never a good time, even if
Yeah,
it does wind up with a happy, oh, not a happy ending. Let's, being not a disaster.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You're
We
in the hospital with a happy ending. You've got one hell of a nursing staff.
amen. Um, yeah. Well, when the wife looked at me, she goes, "I'm gonna head up there. I'm gonna drive up there." It's like, okay, you've been asleep for all of an hour, and you take a sleeping pill.
Oh
You're not
dear.
driving anywhere. grab
Yep.
a
And
grab a
we
can of Monster
got a
and
two
go ahead
minute
that
warning.
way.
Joe Dog's on the way. Um,
All right, Dan. As soon as you see him enter the studio, we'll all just hit stop cam. Uh,
he can override that. Well, no, he can't. Not if we've stopped the camera. Ours
yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
I don't think he can.
For privacy reasons, I am betting probably not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, but he can adjust our volume while we've got it turned on.
Yep.
But he can't unmute us if we've muted ourselves. So if we stop our own cameras, but
It's privacy
it's
stuff, yeah.
I got a handy little switch that nobody can unmute me except for me.
trouble is there's about 4 different ways to do that, and you have to check each one to unmute yourself.
Yes, folks, that's right. I do have an off button. I just tend not to use it.
I'm still working on filters. Oh, there he is.
Man, they just let anybody into this room, even if they do own it.
Well, yeah, that's the point. He owns it. You try keeping the landlord out of a place you're renting.
Howdy.
How you doing, Joe?
Howdy.
Hey,
I sort of hope Zach will pop in because I've got some exclusive video from SpaceX. Well, it's a video from SpaceX with some exclusive audio.
okay.
For whatever reason, that just worries me.
Doesn't me. I pretty much know what's going on. I've known Joe Dog for way too many years now.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing he does surprises me, astounds me, amuses me, occasionally makes me want to run into another room and kick the furniture, but surprise? Nah.
Well, I've actually got control room audio from the static fire today.
Mm.
Ooh.
They were going to attempt a 33 static fire. Right at the last second before they lit, one of the engines threw up a red flag. They just killed it, went with the test anyway, and one of the engines shut down.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if y'all heard that or not.
No, not at all. That's the first I've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's video, and I've put the audio is with it. Elon had an open mic on his headset. You ready?
Yep. You're an evil person, Joe Dog. That's what I like about you.
Yeah, I heard that. I got that, and it just, as I said, I got to put that on there.
Yep. There's not much way you could actually ignore that. All right. Oh, that reminds me. While I'm doing behind the scenes stuff, I got to go over here and get the Last Man Standing link and put it in the chat. Well, the members chat.
I'm hoping my crunching isn't too loud, guys.
No.
No. All right. Now, I've added a couple more people to the links in list. So I hope nobody minds. But I was getting tired of sending individual links out to folks for Last Man Standing. So,
okay.
Just be advised, there are, well, not fresh faces, but friends that haven't been privy to the behind the scenes stuff. that goes on in the link send list that will be now. And there we go.
And I see
YouTube.
who you've added.
Well, of course you do. It's freely available to anybody on the list, actually.
No, it tells me who you just added.
Yes, I know, but anybody that's already been on the list can see where I've added it too.
Oh, so how are y'all doing?
Well, a little bit worried about the dog. We took her off to get fixed today. The pain meds haven't worn off, but Lindsay thinks they may have. I'm trying to get Lindsay not to give the dog another dose of the pain meds. I don't want the dog overdosed on anything. After spending that much, I don't want to have to take her back in the first thing in the morning, or call the animal poison control hotline, for which they charge $95. But because we had the dog microchipped, tomorrow we can go on the website for the microchip and get the poison control for free, for as long as we stay registered with the microchip company. Yeah. I think we get either 1 year or 3 years for free.
Well, I hate to say this, but I don't have my animals chipped. Mainly because if you knew the hellions my animals are, last thing I want them is track them down to me. Hey, there's Zach.
All right.
You guys don't mind watching that again?
No, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, Zach, did you actually see the audio with I actually got control room audio of better yet, shoot. Let me send you a link through the Discord. I want you to come in to the room.
Yep, I started to add Zach, but he's usually quicker available through Discord than he is
through the Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, through Messenger.
All right. What am I doing here? Okay. I just got to remember how to do this stuff. I wasn't prepared. Zach, I've got you a link. I've got some exclusive audio you need to hear. So I'm sending it through Discord. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Dan, if you there's some other videos that are better. It sounds like they got them up to full thrust, and you could hear the crackle of the engines. And that was only 7 seconds in with 31.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's only got 32, right?
33.
33. Oh, okay. Had the one that threw up the red flag and another one they didn't intend to turn on?
Yeah. It lit up with all the modes. Screw it, I'm out.
Too rich for my blood.
Missy just walked in the front door.
Yeah.
I would imagine so.
Yep.
And as of right now, that is the most powerful rocket ever in the history of mankind. Now if we can get it to fly.
Somewhere there is a Russian going, challenge accepted.
All right. I will be back in a few. I'm going to eat dinner with my wife since she just got home from work.
Well, enjoy your dinner.
Enjoy.
Really? Don't rush on our account. We'll be here when you get back.
You already muted yourself, Richie.
Okay, yeah, helps. Yeah, I'm not going to rush because I'm not going to, chance joking.
Yeah.
I know some of the EMTs around here.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Hold on, I'm so glad you spelled that correctly.
So did anybody watch the middle school fiasco Tuesday night?
I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Where all the middle schoolers were arguing with each other and screaming and yelling at each other.
Situation normal.
He's talking about the State of Union address, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Honest to God, I've seen better behaved middle schoolers.
So we had gotten out of our Parks Board meeting Tuesday night, and wife and I went up to local bar to grab a bite to eat real quick. And I was listening to it through my headset on the phone, and I swear to God, it sounded like when Biden was congratulating Kevin McCarthy for getting elected as House Speaker. It sounded like he said Karen McCarthy. I don't know if it's because of my headset and I was in a loud bar.
It was your headset in a loud bar. Let's just. Oh. But yeah, like I said, I've seen better behaved middle schoolers. I quit. Excuse me. Which also
that was that 31st engine firing up, wasn't it?
No, that was them 2 burritos from Taco Bell firing off.
One day I will give up hope of you eating healthily.
Hey, it was beans and onions, sour cream, a little bit of spicy sauce.
Joe, it was Taco Bell.
What?
I need my night medicine.
Well, guys, I will be back. Somebody has failed to remind me to refill medications.
Oh, good thing you don't drink anymore.
Yeah. All right. There's Zach. Hey, Zach.
Hello.
Hey, Zach.
So you got to hear the audio that was with my video?
Oh, it was fantastic. I think we all made some very interesting noises throughout the 5-hour countdown today.
Yeah. I can't believe SpaceX went live for the test.
You're telling me. There may have been a few people on my team that had made bets with other people that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
And they've been having a very fun evening having to pay out at SpaceX. I didn't think they would. I also didn't think that even if they did go live, that one, they would accidentally go live and just half push it out, and that their countdown would be wrong, and that they would do so from the 40-second mark.
Yeah.
It was not very SpaceX, but I think it was meant to be internal. And then Elon pulled a Saturday Night Live and was like, let's go public. And then they just pushed out the link.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't really much of a push out link. It was just go live.
Well,
Really?
One of my team saw it live for 2 minutes before I saw it show up on YouTube. But then I had it on Twitter. But it did not show up actually on SpaceX's YouTube channel until they finished the live stream for me as a thumbnail I could click on. So
Okay.
I think it was unlisted or private first, and then they started. It was only on for about 2 minutes before I got onto it, but they held it at 40 seconds, which is similar to Falcon 9 when the launch director gives his final go. So it makes sense. But why was the clock in the middle? The booster's right here, the fire goes here, and we put the clock right here. Anywhere else. Let me put a How's this? Does this work? No.
Yeah, well, I saw that and I'm going, hey, at least they're showing it.
And they did live drone shots, and then even better drone shots later. My question is, how many days of Kentucky Fried Chicken are they serving at Starbase? Because did you see all the birds?
Yeah.
Squab.
I don't know if you saw my post over in the Armchair Rocket Science. At the birds going, run away, run away.
Well, there was a number of them that definitely got stunned. It looked like most of them got up later, but there was definitely some charring involved.
Joe, I hate to be the adult in the room, but
Yeah.
if you don't want to piss off your lady, you better go get Donna's meds.
Well, I also have been telling her for the last month and a half, don't come in at the last minute when you're completely out of medicine.
It's still medicine.
I don't even know what she takes at night. I just fill up the thing. So I've got to think and figure out what she's got to have.
That could. Well, I don't know how many prescriptions she has to take at night, so. Your guess is as good as mine. Just gonna have to look at the bottles and see what's empty.
Yeah. Well, there's 5 medications she takes at night, but there's like 12 to 14 different medications through the day. Yeah, she can wait.
Better living through chemistry.
Yep. Oh. Oh, but
not the reaction I was expecting you to say. Yeah, no.
But Zach, did you notice the crackles of the engines?
Oh, it sounded so good. It looked really clean.
It looked too clean.
It looks SpaceX clean, where they don't do it until they know it's going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen how many dozens of spin prime tests of smaller amounts. Like they knew this was going to work. It slightly concerns. The only major concern I have with it is they chose not to ignite one in the final count. That's fine. And unlike N1, that doesn't cause a failure of the entire rocket. And then they had one shut off early during the test, which is also fine. They could still make it to orbit. If I'm correct, if they lose one more, they don't make it to orbit. So that's a little tight when we're putting people on this. Now, it was only the first time we've done it, so
yeah,
okay. But they're ramping up they really want to start launching because Gwen Shotwell, I think COO, SpaceX now, she was at a conference this week and she said they were talking Artemis and stuff, and they reiterated that they do not want the human landing system flight to be in the double digits of Starship flights. They want at least a 1 in front of how many times they've launched a ship. That's in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right now they can only launch 5. So they better hurry up.
Yeah.
And the FAA better figure out how they're going to allow them to go from launching 5 a year to 50 to 100 a year.
Yeah. Because once they start needing that refuel, they're going to need
4 to 12 emission, depending on who you hear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's still a lot of questions. Will it work?
Will it work? Yeah. Will it work
this decade?
Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely had a blast watching it all day.
I think I had like 9
I don't think that's the right word to use for the experimental rocket test.
I mean, there was a little bit of me hoping there was a RUD. It's been so long. Yeah. I think that's why everyone was so excited about this. I mean, it shocked me. SpaceX went live, NSF had 110, 115,000 people watching at Ignition. SpaceX
Yeah.
didn't even get over 30,000 when they went live because everyone was already watching somebody. Everyone had been watching all morning. That SpaceX went live and everyone went, eh? So,
Well,
Yeah, Zach, but wanting to see a Rudd is like going to a NASCAR race just in case there's an accident.
but there's no people involved yet, so it's okay.
yeah.
If there was
There's a
people,
lot of
then
money involved.
but we learn from explosions.
Yeah, we learned that things blow up.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to stay on the ground. That's where I thought the failure would be.
Yeah, that's what I was
I thought-
expecting.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it would like launch itself by accident.
well, hopefully they have learned how to latch it down. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why they, I think, only fired for as long as they did. I was shocked that they did not do the larger exclusion zone. There was people at the restaurant, which is not even a mile down the road.
Yeah.
So they had their
Well,
staff. Their staff was very close. The public was a few miles at minimum, but like, I'm not sure even if I was staff if I would have wanted to be, a mile away from the most powerful rocket in human history.
Yeah.
mm,
Of course, I was sort of watching the some of the other video streams along with yours. I had
like 8 screens open.
yeah.
It was weird being back as a viewer during one of these, but it was also kind of nice.
The when you notice people coming out of the production plant and walking across the street, okay, we're ready to go.
That's fair. I did not have that camera open. I could have had such a productive day. Oh, I'm saving that for our team in the future. We're all sitting here with a list of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Is it venting? It's venting. Stop venting. It was flashbacks to 2020.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it filled a lot of people's itch that they've been having for the last 2 years. It's been quiet. It was a year ago yesterday I flew down for the Starship event, and we had the full stack. Last night was the 1 year anniversary of the first full stack with chopsticks. But it's been a rather quiet year.
Well, you remember that meme that went around for a while? Do something, do something. It was the guy poking it with the stick. Do something, do something, do something.
Oh, it came back
Boom.
this morning. Yep. Came back this morning, the first 4 hours of the little bit of venting. Was it going to work? And then we heard there was a valve issue. And that's why it stopped. And we're like, oh, great. Another valve issue. Seems like 2020s is the decade of valve issues.
Yeah. And they flew the drone up to fix it.
Well, they flew it up, just tapped it a little, and on you go.
All right.
only American engineering. Can you fix a problem by thumping it?
No, that's Russian. That's Russian space station.
No. That's
Well, the
American.
Russians would just fly it right into it.
Yeah.
The U.S. just taps it.
Yeah. The trick
I'll
is
be
to know
right-
how hard to hit it and where.
That's where you make the good money.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
I would
let
not
me
fly a drone that close to that rocket when it was fueled or not fueled. I would not trust it.
Hey, drones are less expensive than rockets. I mean, you're not going to damage the rocket.
It's 3 millimeters thick. I'm pretty sure if you hit that with a drone blade, you would cut it.
It's stainless steel, though.
I mean, true. But I mean, some of these
It's
drones
not-
they've got
It's
are,
not like it's Reynolds wrap. Sorry,
it's true.
Ryan.
It's not an Apollo craft. It's just tinfoil.
Now we're talking about Russian. Run on down to the Golden Pantry and pick up a fresh roll to patch it with. Yeah.
Was waiting for them to do that with the Soyuz to bring their crew home at the rate we were going.
Evidently, the Russians have never discovered the glory of steel duct tape.
Yep. Well, we got 2 more weeks that we might see an American fly back to Earth strapped in like cargo on a dragon.
Hey, I would be actually very glad when they started doing passenger dragons back and forth on a weekly basis, as well as cargo as necessary.
That'd be
All right.
interesting to see how that would. ISS, that won't ever happen. Some of the other stations, it might, though. I mean,
What?
NASA's now, Dan was saying, doing like weekly crews up and down from the ISS. If you could find the only reason they can't right now is the second stage of Falcon's new every time. And Dragon, they have to basically gut the outer shell and give it a new outer body. But if they could find a way to make Dragon reusable on a faster turnaround than a couple months, it theoretically is possible.
Well, I see the possibility of Starship launch, couple tankers either on orbit or launching after, refueling, and a Dragon going up to Starship for crew transfers.
Absolutely. The crews will not launch on Starship for quite a while.
Quite a while. Or come back.
NASA crews
Yeah.
will not launch on Starship for quite a while. SpaceX crews or private customers sign a waiver.
Mm-hmm.
It's a private company with a private vehicle with their own training program. If they say their astronauts are trained and ready, they can launch whatever they want.
Wrong, Carl. Oh, but
Let me guess, you had a spare bottle hid.
No, while I was sitting here talking to you, I was under camera, dealing out
drugs?
what. Yeah. Oh,
Do we need to change your subtitle?
No,
Drug.
you see what my subtitle says, don't you?
Oh, I do.
I hold that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, technically, I could probably continue mine all the way across the screen and end in an ellipsis, or in mid-word for that matter.
Have it slowly just get all the way to the end, and then just starts going up the side. And then
They haven't done that one yet.
Yeah.
You know some people at StreamYard, make it happen.
I don't know anybody at StreamYard. Joe Dog knows, but Joe Dog's impressed people at StreamYard.
Well, they've just about forgot me since I'm not doing the massive drain on resources.
They're probably happy that the world is not mass flexing their servers anymore. I run our servers for our website, and when we have a good article go up and it's spiking, it's like, breathe, server, you're okay. You can make it through. And that's just a written article.
Yeah. Oh, see, Zach, I'm ready to show my ass at any time on this show. What?
And we wonder why they stopped calling. They gave you too many features.
Actually, I'm wondering when they're going to give us directories in the video list. So Joe Dog has, here's the ones. Oh, here's the rim shots. Here's the donkey. Just different directories where you click and don't have to scroll half a mile to get to the one video that you want.
Oh, have you seen our DUI test for when this crew tends to abide in the adult beverages? I've got a DUI.
I plead the fifth of whatever brand of vodka I have sitting over on the counter.
Yeah, I've got a DUI test for them, Zach. If that looks normal, they've had too much.
Yeah. Or it just means I've taken my glasses off and I'm looking at it this way.
Let me look at that from a different point of view. I know a guy that once got through a job interview because he did that very stupid trick right there and said, let me think about that in a different point of view, and tilted his head like he was looking at the interviewer on a screen or shifting timelines or whatever. And they
If I
go,
ever interview Elon Musk, I'm going to do that if there's a comment that I'm confused with. I don't understand. Let's try this way.
and he actually got the job just for, basically
Creative
being,
thinking.
creative thinking. Well, I was going to say being a smartass, but I've known the guy since high school. So,
and I've got one more for you, Zach. It's history now, but we since you were the one who alerted us about the Chinese balloon.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, especially the ending. This is what we did for the ending.
So good, just 96 hours late.
Yeah.
The thing flew right over my house.
It did.
There was 2 paths, and one of them went literally perfectly over my house. Didn't even get notified. I would have gone out and said hello. Held a sign, subscribe.
Oh. What's the matter, Joe?
Nothing. It's been a long couple of months, and it's all finally catching up.
Oh, and I've got something for my ending close, so I'm not going to show it yet. I'm going to save that one.
How many hours do you prepare?
About 30 seconds.
There are times that I'm actually throwing something in while we're on the air.
That I believe.
Now, he might spend an hour or two in pre-production, but once it's uploaded...
Oh, the 31 static fire, that one was ready. Oh, probably. Well, it was done before NSF went off the air.
Everybody was done before they went off the air. They had a lot of questions to catch up on at the end of that stream.
I gotta go down the hall. I'll be right back.
All right.
Alrighty.
There was a lot of people in that stream, so they had some catching up at the end to do.
What you ought to do, I know you've got your people, but have somebody sit there, because all the super chats show up on the side. Have somebody sit there with a calculator.
I plead the fifth on whether that has been done or not.
I know it's been done because I've done it before. And YouTube grabs what? 35%? 30?
Generally 30.
Okay, 30%. Damn, that's more than I made last year.
There's a reason why certain YouTube channels get dedicated YouTube representatives to work with them.
And that's why?
Because they bring in a visual percentage on YouTube. I mean, if you are 0.1% of their revenue on a day, you're important to them.
Oh, yeah.
Especially now, like with them rolling out all these other features for monetization, they're expanding quite a bit.
What are the other features for monetization?
Well, shorts can now be monetized. Before shorts there was like a set fund every month.
Yeah.
And if you had so many views, they took that fund and divided it by everybody, and then you might get something. The new one is more like the normal program where you get a certain percentage of, they get paid so much per 1,000 ad plays. You get, normally it's 70% of that. I think with shorts, you're getting actually, I think they said 60% or so. So you're getting a little bit less on shorts, but you're getting more. Theoretically, you should be getting more than you used to be on shorts. So those less percent. You can gift memberships now. Is a big one in chat. So like, even if you're a member of a channel, you want to send a gift, but you don't want to send a super chat, you can say, I want to donate 5 memberships or 50 memberships. And in recorded videos or uploaded clips, you can now do what are called super thanks, which are basically paid comments that point you to the top that literally say super thanks, and it's a set number. Originally, those you couldn't type a message in them. It was just like super thanks, $10. But now you can type a message just like
you can add a comment.
The more you give, the longer your comment can be.
Just like a super chat.
Yeah, up to 200 characters in the end of it. So
yeah.
So they're trying to make it more live stream friendly. But
I wouldn't know what to do if I ever saw super chat show up, because our StreamYard now is linked to where it'll show super chats now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what to do. $10.
You say thank you.
You really?
I'll say thank you, but when it first happens, what the hell? That's a
it's a unique moment when that starts happening. I still remember the one night we were live, and I can't remember, it was a launch or something. I think it was a Russia launch a few years ago, and we had someone come in the chat and they wanted to make a statement about aliens. And they chose that rather than making a statement about aliens and harassing the chat to the point where they might get timed out or banned, they decided to write 5 comments and send each one as a super chat at a maximum 200 character length. Well, the only way to do that is with a $100 US super chat. So they dropped $500 in about 30 seconds to spam the chat about how aliens are real and the government's hiding it from us, and most of our governments are aliens. And I just said, thank you. Back to the launch. And we moved on from there. YouTube said thank you very much for their $160, and we moved on.
Yeah, thank you. Dumbass.
Thank you for a topic not related. Like, I'll generally talk about almost anything if it's at least somewhat related to space. The alien one I'll do occasionally, especially with like James Webb or something, because that's where all of those questions come from. But something like a crewed launch doesn't really fit. Every crewed launch we get, did you see the spacecraft fly by in the background? No, that was ice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now here's the one I like. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I believe in aliens, and every time they fly through the solar system, they roll up the windows and lock the doors.
Treat it like Southside Chicago going through Cabrini Green. Roll up the windows, lock the doors, hands at 10 and 2 on the wheel.
Eyes straight ahead.
Mm-hmm. I've always said, just imagine an alien flies up to Earth, looks at us. Imagine what they're going to hear on our radio and see on our social media. You think they want to stop by? No.
Eventually,
I wouldn't.
Crazy enough will.
Well, that's when they come down, hide, and just poke us a little bit, and then leave.
The one you really have to worry about is the one that flies up and goes, "Oh, I found my people."
You know for a fact Joe Dog's already rickrolled them at least 4 times.
Probably.
I have a response to that, Joe, but I don't want to be canceled.
What?
What happens if an alien comes up to Earth and is like, "Oh, I found my people"?
Oh. Well, you heard about the
and they eat alligators.
About the Earthling and the aliens meeting at a galactic bar, and the Earthling goes, "Yeah, we believe in Jesus Christ and all this," and he explained all of it, and he goes, alien goes, "He was there too? Oh, he is a great dude. Love hanging out with him. He is wonderful. He hangs out with you? Yeah. He doesn't hang out with you? Well, he's not been around for a while. Why not? We don't want to talk about it."
Welcome back, Richie.
Oh, green room response. Shut
Rich
up, Dan.
Rich had to go on that one.
No, he's been gone. He had to eat.
Yeah,
Well,
but
no, I came back just at the right moment, and I'm like, did I come into something I shouldn't have? Click.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You guys don't know how many times I've wanted to pop into the green room, look around, and go, "Oh, hell no," and leave.
I do that with my team all the time.
I've tried to pop in and see if anybody's in chat on your room, but nope.
See, it's one of those things. Everybody doesn't want to be the first person in chat. The moment one of you jumps in general, ping, 12 people.
Well, I sit there and wait 2 or 3 minutes, and yep, I guess they don't like me.
Yeah, I'm normally hidden in one of the back channels working. I've got a list of like 1,000 projects on the go right now.
I feel that.
I've got 40 interviews we're organizing right now, and like 8 tours probably.
Did you jump in with Les when Les Johnson was on?
I wasn't here, but I watched some of it. But we were prepping for another interview that night, so I wasn't. But I did watch the replay of it.
I'm gonna tell you, you need to get Les on, and trust me,
he's on my list. I just keep forgetting to send messages.
Hey, he's an amazing guy, and he is so friendly. I don't want to say laid back, because he can get really intense when you get him on a subject he's really passionate about.
Yeah.
But most of the time, in just regular one-on-one conversation, he's pretty laid back.
Did he go into the solar sail and what happened after Artemis 1 and stuff at all?
They think the battery died. They think the battery died.
Yeah,
that's what I heard too. But
it got pushed off, and then not replaced the battery or recharged the battery. And
sounds like NASA's planning.
Well, no, he said it's not they can hear it, or it can hear. They can tell it can hear us, but we can't hear it. The antenna's pointing in the wrong direction or something.
Yeah, there was I think it was either 10 or 12 CubeSats on A1, and I believe the last time I checked, 8 of them have had critical failure or total failure.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not the best way to launch CubeSats.
I just had a horrible thought. How many CubeSats could Starship launch?
Transporter 5 had 112, I think it was. Individual CubeSat, 112 payloads. Some of those had multiple CubeSats. Starship is payload, what, 8 times? I think at 1,000? 750 to 1,000 CubeSats. If you could build some sort of Pez dispenser structure, that would work.
Of course, I was watching the NASA space flight, and they said they realize what they should send up as the dummy payload. 10 to 15 tons of Pez.
Hey.
What?
It's a good Pez.
Well, think about it. If they can recover it, can you imagine how much those little pieces of Pez would be worth?
And how many members of the Fantastic Four you could create?
Funny thing is, I just had the image of one of the old Batman Pez's just getting launched, like full rocket size Batman Pez just getting launched into space.
It's now the origin story of Underdog. That's how they made his super secret energy pill.
Right. Don't forget Roger Ramjet.
Oh.
I was almost kicked out of an ethics class because of a Pez dispenser. So the ethics professor was talking about psychosis and psychopathy and the true meaning of being a person and all that happiness and stuff that's above my head because I'm a redneck. Well, Big Nick. My mom married into the family. Anyways, I digress. So he's like, what would you say to someone who is psychopathic, who is coming at you and wanting to murder you? I know what the answer he wanted to hear was, but what I did is I reached in my pocket, pulled out a limited edition Darth Vader Pez dispenser, cocked the head back, and went, Pez? And he's like, that's not, why would you do that? Because if he's crazy, he might go for the candy and be like, okay, as long as you have candy, I'm keeping you around.
Better stock up on refills.
I have meaning. I usually had about 15 refills in my backpack at a time. I consumed that thing like a cokehead went through, cocaine.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've had the Z3 B pills before. And they never make it into the dispenser. What's the matter, Dan?
I know exactly where you got that one from. Social media has so much to answer for.
I'll just wait till GPT starts posting on social.
Do what?
The chat AI type text thing. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh. Take some time and look into that. Let's just say every college and university in the country are trying to figure out how can they ban AI. Because basically you go in and it's almost like a Google search. You could type, write me a 1,000-character essay on the great U.S. Revolution, and then it'll write it. And then you can read it, and then you could say, but make it third person, and then enter it. Make it more dynamic and hit enter, and it'll keep rewriting it using AI. And then, but write it in APA style, enter, and it'll rewrite it. And it scrapes the entire internet. And they added the functionality of mathematical equations last week. And it just keeps growing.
Oh, so we're teaching the computers to be smarter.
No, we're teaching the computer to write dissertations.
We're teaching people to be dumber.
Yeah.
And
that's how they
oh Lord, what's the word? The doctoral thesis.
I've read some articles of people that used it when it was in beta, and they were saying it was a great asset for writers who had writer's block or something, or had an idea of a story and used it to kind of just get over that hurdle of getting into something and then went on their way. But now it's going to the point where people are writing full things, or we've played around with it. We're not using it. But I know one person that used it for an interview, and they actually in their interview sat down with the person and said, I'm going to read you 2 intros. One I wrote, one AI wrote. Tell me which one you prefer better. And they preferred the AI one better.
Wonderful. Of course, hey, now I can get my bestseller. Never mind.
Yep. Why one? Get a whole series.
Joe Dog once came up to me and gave me he related to me a great idea for a wonderful story that is entirely his, and I could not do it justice. But if he can get an AI to write it for him at the click of a button,
Yeah. Well, the problem is, we lost Dan.
He said too much. You removed
okay,
him.
Your camera shut off. You still with us, Dan?
yes, I am. Can you still hear me?
We hear you. We just don't see you.
Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah, but the camera's off.
Exactly.
No, the only problem with that story, Dan, is I started working on it again and killed my main character off.
Tell the AI it'll bring it back to life through some sort of resurrection. With Pez that went from space.
Really, that's a good one. Let me log out and come back in. It
All
doesn't
right.
seem to be wanting to turn back on again. And I even wiggled the wire.
All right. You have been shadow banned.
Yep.
Great. Now StreamYard shadow banning people.
I don't cast a shadow.
Does StreamYard run on Amazon's web services? Because yesterday, like half of the internet went down because of that.
I don't know.
It started with Twitter, and then it rolled to Facebook and Instagram, and then to YouTube, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then everyone started panicking because they couldn't tweet that Twitter was down.
Well, I do remember. Oh, there's Dan. Is he back? There he is.
Apparently, I have no excuse for it, but I heard the USB port go ping, and that's when the camera stopped. So maybe Windows decided to do an update in the background. Maybe it was a sunspot. I don't know. I'm back. Let's see if it carried over to my channel.
Well, YouTube went down yesterday too.
For a couple of hours.
It was working. It just worked weirdly.
It seemed like people had different problems with different platforms that went down. So, like, my Twitter was fully functional except for direct message. People that they could direct message on Twitter, but they couldn't post on Twitter unless they wrote their post as a scheduled post and set it to post 1 minute in the future. And then it would work. It was a weird bug, and no one's pointed at it, but if you looked at all the like down detector spikes, they all started after Amazon Web Services started having a spike. And a lot of the global market is built on that.
Yeah.
Well, Amazon owns what, 80% of the cloud?
Something like that. Of the public cloud, yeah.
And they just lease it out because they eventually know that they will need that space.
Of course it's me. Who would be depraved enough to want to be me besides me? I mean, seriously, have you seen my life?
Yeah. Well, all I'm going to tell you is if you get a message on your Facebook Messenger that says, "What's yo?" hashtag for number, ignore it.
I ignore most things that arrive.
But the thing is, it's coming from people that you communicate with regularly.
They've got my number.
I just don't give people my number.
Yeah. Well, it's what it is it's the new Nigerian hack that they're going in and they're hijacking Facebook pages. And for $49.99, they'll give you access back to your page.
What's that in cryptocurrency now?
About $1.
150th of a penny.
We had a big DDoS attack a couple weeks ago on our site.
Oh,
Took
Nick,
everything down.
Nick, you've heard that walk a mile in my shoes? You do not want to be inside my head, young man.
Hey,
For one
Dan,
thing, it takes a lot of processing power even for me.
Dan, I'm a firm believer in walking a mile in somebody else's shoes. That way, when they realize they screwed up, you're a mile away and they're barefoot.
Joe, the problem with that is I have a car and about 30 pairs of shoes.
Is it electric and is it charged?
I already thought that one through a long time ago. I've got more than one pair of shoes and I have a car. A mile is only a minute away at a comfortable plotting speed.
Just ruin a good joke, Dan. Thanks.
My specialty.
Uh-oh.
I ask you questions? Oh no.
Now, do you remember what they are? Or
I
were?
think I said, is it electric and is it charged? Your
Oh.
car.
Oh, the car? No, it's fossil fuel and it's got a full tank. So
Well,
I'm good. I'm good for at least an 8-hour chase.
Well, give it a couple years and you'll get pulled over before you could catch up.
And as far as ruining a good joke, when are you going to tell a good one first, Maroon?
Me?
Gonna need some aloe for that burn.
oh damn!
Well, good night, Rich.
Oh,
And actually, Dan, you could answer yes to that question. You have a battery in there,
and
the
it
battery
is charged.
It just doesn't happen to run purely off of said battery.
Yeah, it does. You let that battery go dead while you're going down the road and see how much further you get.
Not all the way even through the drive-through. I've done that once. The alternator gave out and the battery was all it had and I didn't know.
Oh.
You've never seen a dashboard light up like that before. I mean, it's like, Houston, we have a problem. Oh, it took a little while to diagnose that the alternator was stone cold dead. And thankfully I had a battery charger in the van. So I was able to jump it off and get it running off whatever little bit the battery could hold. But I wound up having to pull the alternator, put another one in, and pull the battery out because it had been going long enough to where it damaged one of the cells in the battery. So, you don't want to do that with a non-electric car. Is get the charging device
Dead.
non-functional.
Yeah.
Because you ruin batteries really quick when you don't have a charger that is working. And
Of course,
by
Dan,
I
that
mean
was
the alternator.
Dan. That was probably when an alternator was $29.95.
No, it was about $300. The car was made in 2006, and this was 2015 or thereabouts.
Last car that I had do that had an OBD1 diagnostic port.
It may have well, I'm sure it does have a diagnostic port. I don't have anything to read the diagnostics off the car's computer.
No, ODB1, they phased those out in 94.
I have a Redneck Farm Boy diagnostic for it. Is that making a funny noise? Yep. What you reckon that is? Sounds like a bearing. Is that the alternator or is that the air conditioner? Don't know. Swap them both out.
No, that's when you cut a piece of garden hose, put one end to your ear and the other end down by the water pump, and the alternator, and the air conditioner, and the power steering pump. I just told my age, didn't I?
Yeah, really. I've never had to do that. If I wanted to know if the water pump was going bad, I'd just wiggle the fan. If it would wiggle, water pump's bad.
Now we're talking about Zach stuff. Zach has no clue.
Hey, I really miss the days when it only took me 15 minutes to change out an alternator or water pump or the radiator or any, and I actually had room to work.
Thermostat.
Yeah, thermostat. Well, that's only 2 bolts. There ain't even no wires.
Hey, Dan, remember the days when you could change the alternator with the motor running?
Yeah, but they called them generators back then.
Yeah.
Entirely different principle.
Yeah, but each one had its own individual belt.
Yeah, they did, but basically, if you knew which one was what you needed to change, and you knew which one you needed to loosen up, the trick is getting it past the rest of them. And now it's all on one serpentine belt. You know why they call it a serpentine belt?
Runs like a damn snake.
No. Because when you need to replace it, you can be sure it's going to bite you somehow.
Oh, yeah.
No, Dawn, I'm sorry. I've never had one of those, but my dad was familiar with them. Somebody else owned it, but I do remember when you had to turn a crank on the front end of them, but I've never actually owned anything like that myself. That would have been my granddaddy.
Oh, and if that, my granddaddy told me about it too. If that crank ever hung up,
you're going to get a broke arm.
Yep.
Because it's going to swing around with the crankshaft and smack you in the arm before you can move out of the way.
Oh, see, Zach, those were the fun days of automotives.
Yep. Sure. Basically, you could do just about anything with an adjustable wrench, a screwdriver, and
a hammer.
A hammer and a Boy Scout pocket knife. I mean, there wasn't much you couldn't do with that set of tools. If you couldn't fix it, if you had a hammer, you could whack on it till you felt better.
Well, like that meme says, back in the 60s, the owner's manual told you how to adjust the valve lash and the timing. The owner's manuals today teaches you not to drink the antifreeze.
Please tell me that's a joke.
No, it's not.
Have you ever looked at the back of a shampoo bottle?
Have you ever looked at the instructions on a box of toothpicks?
Not since the advent of the smartphones.
Oh, Lord. The dumbing down of humanity started a long time ago.
They eased us into it.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, we started living longer than we're supposed to, and some of us can remember that shit.
There's some days that I really wish God would rethink his stance on floods. We can use a good one.
Now, who needs a flood? Just take off the warning labels. It'll sort itself out.
Yeah, that's like wireheading. if that ever comes to be. It's a self-eliminating problem. All the drug addicts that you have now will eventually sit in a chair with an electric wire into the pleasure center of their brain and giggle themselves to death. I mean, it's tragic, yes, and going to lose a lot of potentially useful people, bright people, who had tragic lives that drove them to such a situation. But nobody will ever buy any organic drug to take ever again. I'm not a proponent of this particular addiction. I think it would be horrible, but
The other side of that is by the time they figure that out, they should be able to figure out how to upload, download stuff. And three-letter agencies will figure out a way to download all the pertinent secrets in someone's brain. So at least that information wouldn't be lost.
Neuralink's already started its patient directory database in December. I don't want to be rude and jump off, but India decided to launch a rocket in 20 minutes. So
Okay.
okay.
happily deploy a live stream and then may or may not be back.
All right. Thanks for dropping in, Zach. I definitely wanted to make sure you saw the video with Elon's commentary.
Oh, it's so good.
Should I
We'll see you
post
guys
that?
then.
Should I
Do
post
it.
that in Discord?
Sure, why not?
All right, I
Our
will.
community could laugh a little.
All right.
We'll see you guys
See
later.
you, Zach.
All right.
Bye, Zach. Nice of you to be with us. Hello, Keisha.
And hello, Keisha.
Hey, Keisha.
Congratulations on the little girl. Well, will be little girl.
Hey, Keisha.
I forget where I was going. I had a good joke in there, and it's just gone.
Was it one of yours?
See,
Yeah.
he was finally going to have a good joke for us to try and ruin, and then he forgets it.
What astonishes me is he actually thought of a good joke.
All my jokes are good. I laugh at every one of them.
Not even in the green room. I'll be right back. I gotta get a beer. I ain't even turning nothing off. This is definitely a 6-beer problem here.
I'll turn them off then. Slide over a little bit, Rich. There we go.
Oh, I need to move my camera farther back. That way my head is not just there.
Hey, you're the big head. We know it. Oh, now I remember what it was. Rich, have you seen the one where the guy's doing the it's one of those little short things. He is IT and customer calls the IT. He goes, "Okay, your internet's not working. Have you checked the modem?" "Yeah." "Have you checked this?" "Yeah." "Yeah, everything's plugged in. I've unplugged, plugged it back in. It's not working." "Who is your internet provider?" He goes, "I don't have an internet provider. I cut the cable." I see Rich going, "Oh dear God, I know that had to have happened."
I know it's happened.
You know
Wasn't my
firsthand
fault.
it has happened.
Wasn't my call, but I saw the ticket.
And you noticed while I was only taking 3 steps over to the fridge, Joe Dog had to turn my microphone off so I couldn't rebut his remarks. This is censorship, I swear.
Oh, well, one thing I've heard that's good, fourth District U.S. Court of Appeals has ruled live streaming traffic stops is a First Amendment right.
You're gonna have to explain that one. I don't know what shorthand you're using there for definitions.
This guy
Live
got,
streaming traffic stops. Does that mean shutting somebody off of a live stream?
meaning if you got to have a traffic stop and cut your Facebook Live on, they can't tell you to turn it off.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a violation of your First Amendment right to free
Now,
speech.
here's the other side of the question. I can understand it if you are the one of the people in the vehicle. Does this also go for folks who are outside the vehicle who are just walking up and interfering with the cop's stop?
Interference, no, but the cop cannot make you stop filming. He can tell you to get over there and continue to film, but you cannot get between the officer and the the stoppee or put yourself in traffic danger.
I would also think that you wouldn't be able to get too close to the person's vehicle because how easy would it be for a third party to plant something?
Yeah.
To make something, you know, go super nuts and stuff like that because I despise First Amendment auditors. I take it back. I despise the bulk of First Amendment auditors. There's some out there that aren't bad that do it right. Most of them are out there to
Cause
basically
issues.
just provoke. And
Yeah.
provocation to an incident is just as bad as, provoking someone to throw the first punch at you. You've actually thrown the first punch at them.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's for, and the reason that the court ruled is if you're doing a live stream, it can't be edited.
True.
But
Now now I got to find a uplink that'll
it'd be the
work
same
from
as the
from a
cops
car to broadcast to StreamYard while I'm driving. Hey, you're on camera, cop. You can't make me stop. Now, what was it you wanted to pull me over for again?
now I've seen a lot of videos to where a dash cam has saved people a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
They cop pulls them over and they say, I observed you back there so far with a not wearing your seatbelt. My seatbelt on, officer. Well, when did you put your seatbelt on? When I left the home. My dash cam right here has it. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. It just sort of looked like I couldn't see it. Sorry to bother you. Have a nice day. And off they walk.
I had one somewhat similar. I was leaving a LibertyCon on the way home. Got out on the highway, got up to about 65 miles an hour on a 70-mile-an-hour road. Get pulled over. Cop comes up to the window, says, "You were doing 90 miles an hour." I hadn't even got up to the speed limit yet to put on the cruise control. But I had two GPS units, one showing me the route, a brand new one recording the route because they can't transfer data between each other,
Yeah.
being several generations apart, plus the rear view camera with a monitor. So I had three screens on the dashboard, and it was the first day that the hands-free telephone thing went into effect in Tennessee.
Oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
I wasn't even 5 miles away from the hotel.
I've
Get
had
pulled
that
up.
with me,
He
though.
just wanted to know why I had so many screens across the dash of the car, and was hoping one of them was a telephone, and was hoping it was in my hand. And I'm going, well, no, I'm sorry. I thought the speed limit through here is 70. I didn't know that had exceeded it yet. I hadn't even turned on my cruise control. He goes, well, let me run your license and everything. Went back to the car for several minutes longer than they usually would take to run a license, considering they've already run the plates
Before
before
you
they
ever.
pull you over. And got no speeding tickets outstanding, got no speeding tickets on my record at all, got nothing, no wants, no warrants. Um, all he wanted to do was find out whether or not I had a cell phone in my hand, along with everything else. And you know my van. It's got lights, fog lights all across the front. It's got camera in the front. It's got a camera in the back. Um, he just wanted. He just wanted to be a nuisance, and I was not
He wanted to
cooperating.
get his quota in early.
And he had to let me. He followed me for a good 5 miles after that, hoping that I would go over the speed limit, but got got up to the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, hit my cruise control, and watched dozens of cars fly past me at 85 while he's on my bumper. His ego got bruised because I had done nothing wrong that he could write me up a ticket for. And he also saw the rear view camera with a picture of his squad car with the lights on flashing on my dashboard. Now, I have been tempted to get a DC powered VCR and hook it up like a dash cam, or just go ahead and get a dash cam for the front and the back.
That's cheaper.
I know it's cheaper. Believe me, I know it's cheaper. But so far, no one else has decided that their ego has been larger than mine. Don't see how it could be. It would kind of implode into a black hole. There's only so much ego you can get in one person before they implode.
That reminds me of there's a channel on YouTube, Wham Bam Tesla Cam. That's a good one. What?
I just
Don't
know the
know.
name of it.
Yeah. There is a lot of hate towards electric vehicle owners.
Mm.
I mean, these people. There are probably at least one video a week of somebody walking up, looking at a Tesla, looking to see if anybody's around. Of course, the thing is, Tesla's got cameras all over.
Mm-hmm.
They walk up with their key and just down the side. And then they walk to their car parked directly behind them, get in the car and back up with their license plate,
Mhm.
and then drive off. Then the police, notify them a few days later of their vandalism charge. But why would you attack a car? Key in a car is one of my pet peeves. What did the car do to you?
It's pettiness and throwing a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I can't afford it, so I'm going to ruin your day.
Well, now,
Or I don't agree with the technology, so I'm going to ruin the day. Yeah, well,
Why should you have a toy that I want that I can't have?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of different reasons. Human psychology is a very complicated chain of different impulses.
Well,
Carl can tell us that.
We're all assholes.
Yeah, to a varying degree.
yeah, take a bus or a train. Yeah. Of course, the self-driving part is not to let you get on the phone and do whatever. It's to take a little bit of the stress off of driving.
And let me catch up on my sleep because I had to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning to
Yeah.
get there on time.
Yeah, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. But I
I
had
don't-
somebody one time cut one of the tires in my Chevelle Super Sport, being badass. Well, I revisited him. I said, hell, you kids will be kids, whatever. Then I borrowed his Honda Civic a little later, you know, 2 or 3 months later. Went to the AutoZone, bought me 2 tubes of the JB Weld, took his lug nuts off, coated them with some JB Weld, screwed the lug nuts back on, filled his car up for him, put some JB Weld on the inside of the gas cap, then gave it back to him.
Oh, you dick.
That's akin to the one that I actually witnessed somebody do with a tube of super glue in the car locks of somebody that had been giving them a lot of
Grief.
bullying. I mean,
Yeah.
nowadays you could go to the personnel, the human resources, and file a complaint. Back then, it'd be we don't care. So this lady made everybody care because nobody's going to upset her again.
Well, I'm going to tell you, 2 zip ties and a washer about this big around can make for some fun times on a car, too.
If it has a drive shaft, yeah.
Yeah. Dan
And
knows that one.
you wonder how I know these things because I'm old. Yeah.
No.
You got to really work at it with a front wheel drive. I've got to tell you
Yeah.
that. You got to get creative with the zip ties. Now I have seen pranks back when you didn't have to undo a lock inside the car to raise the hood. And a nice couple got married, and somebody decided, an open tin of sardines on the exhaust
Manifold?
headers, the
Yeah.
exhaust manifold of the car would be a perfect addition to their honeymoon. Never
Well,
get the smell out of the fish.
never get the smell out of the fish or the car. Both.
Two different jokes, but
Now,
Now,
we
I
had
did
a
have-
few, folks in high school JB Weld other people's car locks.
but never the gas cap.
Remember the gas cap?
Yeah, that's so much more fun.
we did have. Now they got caught. That was after the company installed security cameras around the parking lot. But nobody actually thought they were working. They thought they were. This person thought they were dummy cameras, not hooked up to anything. But they went out and poured about 2 pounds of sugar in somebody's gas tank in the middle of the night, third shift. And a couple of days later, the victim had to have quite a lot of fuel lines in the tank and whatnot replaced. And the company went back over the security cam videos and found out who did it. And that person
Was
left
unemployed.
unemployed, leaving the factory in handcuffs.
Mm.
The company was not pleased. It was
Yeah,
not an
imagine.
executive who had their sugar in the gas tank, but they were the kind of people that did things to where that would have been an appropriate response. So,
Well, have you ever heard the stories of what people used to do to VW owners? The bugs?
yeah.
For about 2 or 3 months, they'd bring 5-gallon jugs of gas and fill their car up.
Oh, getting great gas mileage.
Getting great gas mileage. Then 2 or 3 months later, you start stealing the gas out of the car.
I know you've heard the story about the would-be fuel thief that opened the wrong valve on an
A
RV.
motorhome?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I knew where you're going.
tried
Yeah.
tried to siphon out the contents of the wrong tank.
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
shitty night.
Oh,
I was really
Oh.
pissed off after that.
I wasn't going to go any further. I mean, seriously, but yeah, that was
Waste
pretty
of a
much.
good joke.
Mm-hmm. Ah,
Others trying
So-
to go down the toilet.
So, Rich, did I give you any good ideas on some more JB Weld use?
I've heard you use those before. It's we
That's the one, and that's why.
now the JB Weld on the lugs. Oh God, I love that idea.
good luck getting lug nuts off nowadays for people that take their car to a tire dealer. They put those things on with air wrenches, and
And
hey,
then
I
add a
got-
torque wrench to it.
I got a socket handle and a cheater bar, and was bouncing up and down on it. I could not get the lug nuts loose on the tire that I had a flat tire on. I had a spare.
There was a
I
time
couldn't
that I
change
was
it.
standing on a 2-foot cheater bar, and that lug was not moving to save its life.
Sure, they didn't JB Weld you.
Well, it wasn't my car; it was my wife's, and they got it off at the tire place with no problem.
Yeah, that's because they got that 500-pound air wrench, or 500-pound pressure, whatever. But seriously, there's got to be something wrong with putting lug nuts on so tight that if you have a flat tire on the side of the road someplace, you've got to call a wrecker and get towed to some other tire place that has.
That's the point.
Yes, I know. That violates my sense of fairness.
Mm.
I mean, I'm supposed to be able to change a tire. Now, I've given up on changing the oil since nowadays you've got to have a permit to dispose of it. But,
Take it to AutoZone or O'Reilly's.
really, I mean, it's only about $10-15 more than the cost of the actual oil and filter and everything else, and less than I would charge somebody else if I were owner of a shop for the labor of actually changing the oil.
Well, oil and filter now is $35 at O'Reilly's. That's to do it yourself.
Hey, I pay about that much at one of those drive in at your convenience, and they do everything, and plus check your water and coolant in the radiator, and refill the windshield wiper, and vacuum out the interior, and check the tire pressure. I mean, if you're gonna do all that, yeah, that's great. Had one time went in there, um, kid forgot to put the drain plug back in. The dude filled up the oil reservoir with the exact amount of oil it needed, cranked it up, turned it off, checked the oil, empty. Hollered at the kid, "Hey, what's going on down there?" Kid goes, "Oh, I forgot to put the plug back in." Only charged me for the one.
Oh
refill.
yeah.
The kid had to pay for the other one. That came out of his check.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you go to Walmart when they do oil change, there's a guy that comes down underneath, visually looks to see if the plug's there, and the manager looks under to watch him reach up and touch it and say the oil plug is there. So you got 3 people making sure the oil plug's back. I guess Walmart got tired of buying engines.
And Walmart
Well,
can go take a flying leap.
oh Lord, I'm probably going to have to go to Batteries Plus this year to get another
It's for you.
battery
Gift card
for
for
my
Motorola?
lawnmower. Nope. I saw that, and that'll be great. I mean, he's on the list now, so he has links to both rooms. So if he wants to come in here, that's fine. If he wants to wait another few minutes, 14 minutes till we start the next show, that is fine too.
Oh, we got 14 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dang.
13 now.
13 now. Okay.
Hey, it keeps counting down. I can't stop it.
Let it go. Let it go. When it hits 0, you get to start all over again. What's the matter, Dan?
Close, but no cigar. Oh, that. What would happen if your odometer ever looped all the way around and got back to zeros all the way across? How many miles is that?
Now it's 1,000,000.
I haven't got that many miles out of 17 cars yet. Collectively, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, before cars only went to 100,000 miles, and back then, 100,000 miles, oh man, that car's wore just slap ass out.
Mm-hmm.
Today, 250, 300,000, you're nearly there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 220 something thousand on the van, and it's never had the spark plugs changed.
It might be time.
No, I was told by a mechanic, never on
One that old.
one that new, never change the spark plugs for the entire life of the car. The factory plugs will work much better than replacements. Plus, they have to pretty much disassemble the top half of the engine block to
get to 'em?
replace. Yeah, because it's sideways, and there's no room to
Oh.
work. So you've got to get in back there underneath the heater core in the firewall
Yeah, Dan.
to
you're
get
cold
to those
engine.
3 or 4, depending on how many cylinders your car has, to
Change
replace
the,
those spark plugs.
change the starter on a V8 Toyota.
How old?
the newer ones.
Mm,
You're gonna love this. It involves pulling the intake.
okay, why?
It's
What's
in
in the
it's
way?
it's under the intake. It's in the engine.
Oh, it's inside the block.
Yeah.
Okay, that's convenient for their mechanics, who are the only ones licensed to do this work, I imagine.
Yeah. Toyotas, Nissans, some Hondas, and I think the one of the diesel Fords.
Well, in order to change the alternator on mine, I'm supposed to pull the passenger side front tire out as well as the wheel well.
Yeah.
No, I've played Tetris before. I know how to work things out and work them back in.
Well, on my little Toyota Chevy HHR, to change the blower motor for the heat and air, you got to take the passenger seat out.
That's like Lindsay's car. If you want to change the battery, you got to take the back seat up.
Yeah.
It's not under the hood. It's next
Under
to the
the
trunk, under the back seat.
Yeah. No, and the reason you take the back seat out is because it's such a contortionist. If you try to do it with the seat in, you can't get to it.
You can't get to it anyway with the seat in. It covers up the.
Yeah.
If you take the seat out, which is real simple, you don't even need any tools. It just snaps into place. But you take that seat out, there's this big empty trough with a battery in the middle. I'm going, well, why don't I just buy a charger and hook the wires up to it, and in the trunk put the prongs of the charger cable sticking out through the back of the trunk inside, so that all I got to do is run a drop cord from the house to the car and it's on.
Get one of them battery tender things.
Well, yeah. Trouble is, it's a 2002 Buick, and the electronics for the alternators are a really stupid design. The voltage regulator part of the alternator is extraordinarily cheap, and I don't mean inexpensive. I mean of low quality. So after 2-3 weeks, after you change the alternator and get brand new circuitry inside, you wind up getting a parasitic drain on the battery. And if you don't drive the car every other day, you have to jump it off. Yep. Because it drains the battery charge for no perceptible reason. So you either got to rig up a bunch of stuff or drive the car every other day. Or sell it and buy something designed by an intelligent person, which is bad because the engine in those Buicks are really good. It's the alternator that's got a messed up design.
And they quit building those cars in the early 70s.
No, this is a 2002.
No, you said build something designed by a good engineer.
Oh, yeah. Last one I had was a 77
Damn it.
Thunderbird. Just before they became Volkswagen size. You're talking 5-acre hood.
Sorry, Joe.
You
Didn't mean to start that.
Do what?
Didn't mean to start the yawning.
Yeah. Well, I've been up since about 5, so
I've been up since 6, although I did take a nap while I was watching YouTube videos. At least those people got a complete playthrough without me skipping through any of the ads.
All right. That's enough, Rich. You can quit now.
4-minute warning.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'm going down the hall.
All
and
right.
I will be back in time to watch you roll the end credits. And you said you had something special to play in the end credits.
After the end credits, yeah.
Oh, after. Okay.
Yeah, you know I always play something afterwards. And he's muted his mic. Oh. And Chris, me and you need to converse about Saturday, so keep that up. The geese will come over.
The Cobra chickens.
Yeah. Geese are just evil anyway.
Yes, yes. So are swans. I hate swans with a passion.
Are they just as irritable?
Worse. So I grew up on a lake. There was a swan nest literally a mile across the lake. If I had a high power enough weapon,
The robots
come all
have,
the way over to.
the robots got you, Rich.
What's the last thing you heard?
About a mile over the lake,
So-
and if you had
If I had a high-powered enough weapon, I could actually shoot across and actually hit them in the nest. And sometimes I wanted to. They would come over across to my side of the lake and attack us for swimming a mile away from their nest.
oh,
I
they're
hate
not
swans
mean.
with a
Those are
passion.
just assholes.
Yes. I hate swans with a passion.
What is it, Joe? You want to say it? Go ahead.
No, I'm sitting here chatting with GoDaddy while we're doing this because I'm trying to figure out what I need to upgrade my server space to.
All right. Well, Dan's back, and it is time for us to say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.
We'll see you Saturday. And Dan, everything's set up. Me and Chris may not be back in time.
Yeah, y'all are going to
Atlanta.
Atlanta
Yeah.
Steampunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Have
we
fun
were.
with that.
Yeah. All right. Holler at y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space. Put out my hand and touched the face of God.